Hi everyone, this is Karen from the Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. In this video, we're going to be talking about a Civil War nurse who's buried in Historic Montgomery Cemetery. Elizabeth Jane Brower, sometimes referred to as Eliza or Lizzie, was born roughly around 1830 in Norristown. Like many women from the middle and upper middle classes in the Norristown area, Lizzie volunteered to be a nurse during the American Civil War. She served alongside other notable women from the area, including Anna Morris Holstein, and during their service, they helped wounded soldiers by handing out bandages, linens, food, and otherwise serving in supportive capacities to ensure that the wounded were being properly taken care of, and they would even write letters home to their families, letting them know where they were and how they were doing. Lizzie and her sister Rachel started their service as Civil War nurses in 1862 after the Battle of Antietam. The two of them traveled to Sharpsburg, Maryland, which was just by the battlefield, and there they served for several days as nurses for the very first time. While they were there, they realized that the Army aid services needed a lot more help than what they were currently getting. So the two of them, in addition to some other women from the area, started helping to raise money, raise awareness, and do basically whatever they could to help support the hospitals that were treating the wounded soldiers. During their service, fellow nurse Anna Morris Holstein was also known to work alongside of them, and also in her memoirs she even listed them by name and said they were, quote, reliable, valuable, and effective women. So they had received a lot of recognition from nurses, doctors, soldiers, etc., basically saying that they were providing a huge aid. After serving in Sharpsburg, Lizzie returned home. But she didn't stay home for too long because her sister Rachel, who had stayed on near the battlefield site, had become ill and could no longer serve in that role as a nurse. So Lizzie took her place and returned to the battlefield. Lizzie remained in these battlefield hospitals for quite some time after taking her sister's place. She would frequently serve alongside Anna Morris Holstein to continue their work taking care of the soldiers. This included feeding, washing, dressing the wounds, and writing letters to their loved ones. Lizzie became so well liked by the people she was attending to that most of them ended up referring to her as Miss Lizzie or Miss Lizzie B. And Anna Holstein even had this to say in her memoirs: among the wounded at Antietam, Gettysburg, and in Virginia, her kind ministrations will be long remembered, referring to, of course, Lizzie B. And it just goes to show what an impact Lizzie had on everyone she was serving and working alongside. By November of 1864, Lizzie ended up leaving the battlefields to go home for what was originally intended to be a short rest from her long service in the hospitals. However, she never did end up returning to any of those field hospitals or serve in any other capacity during the Civil War. Unfortunately, it appears that her service did take quite a toll on Lizzie's mental state. By January 8th, 1874, she was admitted to the Harrisburg State Hospital. When she was admitted to the hospital, it was stated that she had been suffering from, quote, chronic mania for over 2 years at that point in 1874. And some of the pension records claim that she had been of unsound mind ever since and is now confined in Harrisburg. When you look at the census records from that time while Lizzie was at the Harrisburg State Hospital, you notice that she and the other patients were listed as, quote, insane. Nowadays, we realize when looking at what Lizzie experienced during her time as a Civil War nurse, she was likely dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, which was something that was not identified at her time while she was at the state hospital. Some of you may be wondering why she was sent all the way to Harrisburg instead of down the street to the Norristown State Hospital, and that was because Norristown hadn't opened yet. She was admitted to Harrisburg in 1874, but the Norristown State Hospital only opened in 1880. So by that time, Lizzie had already been admitted. By the 1910 census, Lizzie had been there for a very long time and was then listed in the census as having gone blind, probably due from her older age. She ultimately spent the rest of her life at the hospital for a total of 31 years, and she did die at Harrisburg State Hospital in March of 1919, and she was age 89 at the time of her death. After her death in 1919, Lizzie's body was brought back to Montgomery County. She was buried in Historic Montgomery Cemetery in section L38 along with other members of her family. If you like these videos, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube pages so that you can be notified when a new video is released. The Historical Society of Montgomery County, Pennsylvania is a private nonprofit library and museum located in Norristown, Pennsylvania. We rely on the support of the community, members, volunteers, and viewers like you. If you would like to donate so that we can continue making these videos, you may do so by clicking the donations link in the description section below, which will take you to our main website. Thank you so much for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in a future video.